Good to see you again. Let me back up into a philosophical conversation a little bit with you. As I go through the budget, it's clear more money. That's a pretty clear aspect to the budget. Is that in almost every area, increase. Some of them by very, very large percentages, 300, 400% increase from previous time periods. So I see all that, but there's also it seems to be a philosophical shift as well on how we're handling carbon. It's not reducing it; it is eliminating, and it's a jump there. So let me give you, for instance, it seems to move for transportation to electric vehicles, straight from fossil fuel to electric vehicles, skipping through the hybrid that obviously make an enormous difference. Skipping away from natural gas and other things to say, how do we find something to skip over this instead of a transition from home heating oil? For instance, all my friends in the Northeast use a lot of home heating oil that produces a lot more carbon than we do in the Midwest using natural gas. But it seems to try to make the jump. Is that a philosophical shift? Am I picking up something here that it goes from all or nothing without a transition in between?
No, I think that the recognition that there needs to be a transition is really quite loud in the sense that the technologies that will help us to transition are really supported by this administration, whether it's carbon capture. We're not skipping over. What we want to do is to assist natural gas, for example, in removing greenhouse gas emissions, whether it's carbon dioxide or methane. We want to assist the baseload fuel power sector to remove those technologies so that they can still function, but in a zero carbon environment. So it's not skipping over, it's assisting and decarbonizing.
Right, so when I look at your plan, you've got a 2035 for electricity generation to be at zero carbon, is that correct?
Right.
So the permitting question comes into that for me initially. 14 years away at this point to say we'll be at a zero carbon within 14 years. I look at the Trans-West transmission line and the permitting they've gone through. The transmission lines that's taken wind power through several states in the Northwest. That process started in 2007.
Yeah.
They have yet to break ground on it yet. So they've been permitting since 2007, permitting. They hope to break ground on it next year. 15, 16 years in the process from permitting to starting it. You're talking about in 14 years being at net zero.
Net zero by 2050.
So what's the
2035 is 100% clean electricity.
For transmission?
For transmission is 2035, yeah, 100% clean electricity.
Right, so that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
This is a transmission project.
Completely right about the permitting issue. Completely right that it is way too long and it's very frustrating. And we have got a team internally that is working on that. It's got to be an intergovernmental strategy, obviously, because we don't do, DOE doesn't do permitting, but there is a recognition that we've got to move with alacrity.
Right, but that brings up the philosophical issue for me, because it seems to be a lot more money to be able to do more innovation, more creativity, more grants. Let's figure this out. But the practical side of it is, okay, if we figure that out, how do we actually implement that?
Well,
when we talk about nuclear power and trying to be able to implement nuclear power, putting one in Wyoming, that's a very long permitting stream to be able to get there, to actually get that on the ground. If you're going to put a transmission line in the Northwest of the United States and it takes 15 years to do the permitting on it, setting a date of 2035 saying we're going to innovate to be able to do that and actually implementing it is a very, very different animal.
Yes, I agree. But the whole premise of the investments is that we create a grid development authority inside of the Department of Energy, where where you have both planning, permitting, and paying overseen so that you can make sure that the investments are proceeding quickly. That's through the American Jobs Plan.
How would that work with Department of Interior, BLM, all of those?
Well, we would work with them. Obviously, there's intergovernmental processes to be able to do that, and we would have to make sure that all of our partners are at the table.
Another issue we've talked about several times here is about the critical earth, rare earth elements as well,
Yeah.
to figure out how we actually get that. The biggest challenge that we have there is the permitting side of that as well. Obviously, those resources are here. They are obviously in high demand. But we've got lots of issues there. One of the things that I've raised is the Title 17 loan guarantee program that Energy has, and to be able to put a greater priority on that program on the development of domestic. Would you be open to have the Title 17 loan guarantee program be more focused on domestic production of critical earth?
Yes, I think we may need a statutory language change, but absolutely.
Okay, thank you.